Welcome back to this course on ACL injury rehabilitation, Week 4 Intermediate Phase. Lecture 18, Maintaining Cardiovascular Fitness During ACL Rehabilitation. Cross-training for maintaining cardiac conditioning. I am Dr. Jaren Shaji from the Department of Sports Medicine, AFMC Pune. In this lecture, we will elaborate on the importance of maintaining cardiovascular fitness and various cross-training methods to do it during the rehabilitation process. The learning objectives of this lecture are to understand why cardiovascular conditioning matters post ACLR, to see various cross-training modalities like cycling, pool running, and upper body ergometry, to look into continuous versus interval training strategies for cross training, to see how monitoring fitness parameters are done, and to understand how to integrate into your rehabilitation schedule. Why does cardiovascular conditioning matter post ACL injury? Maintaining cardiovascular fitness post ACLR is crucial to preventing deconditioning, preserving aerobic capacity known as VO2 max, and for supporting metabolic health. This is because reduced activity after surgery rapidly lowers aerobic capacity, stroke volume, and cardiac output, making it difficult for return to play and increasing overall health and psychological risks. Hence, cardiopulmonary training is very crucial, and it also improves circulation to the healing graft, thus enhancing recovery. What is cross training? Cross training is defined differently in a healthy individual and an injured person. In a healthy person, it is performing different types of exercises to improve overall fitness, to prevent monotony, and balancing muscle development, thus reducing overuse injury risk. The examples are running, cycling, swimming, and strength training. Whereas in an injured person, cross training is substituting or modifying usual training with alternative low impact activities in order to maintain fitness and to aid in recovery without stressing the injured area. Again, the examples will be swimming, cycling, pool running, elliptical training, or even strength training for the non-injured side. In short, for a healthy person, cross training helps in performance enhancement and providing variety to the training, whereas in an injured person, cross training helps in maintaining fitness while protecting the injured part. Cross training modalities for endurance helps in maintaining aerobic fitness while maintaining joint protection and enhancing gradual loading. Cycling is an important cross-training modality which can be used in an injured person during rehabilitation. It is a controlled progressive aerobic load with minimal strain on the graft. Low resistance pedaling is done initially to build an aerobic base. This low impact activity promotes knee range of motion and is very safe during the early stage of ACL rehabilitation. The seat or the handlebar setup height is critical to avoid knee strain and also avoid high resistance early in rehabilitation. Coming to aquatic therapy for building endurance. It utilizes water's buoyancy to offload the knee, enabling cardiovascular work without weight bearing or impact on the healing graft, as seen in the previous lecture. But this requires pool access, which may not be possible for every person. Aquatic therapy for endurance could be of different types, such as deep water running or swimming. Deep water running, also known as aqua jogging, is a running motion with a flotation belt done in a pool. It mimics natural running biomechanics without impact and joint loading. It can be monotonous and boring at times. Swimming. It is a low impact activity enhancing cardiovascular fitness and promote circulation. Beware of the risk of twisting or pivoting knee in certain types of strokes while swimming, especially like breaststroke, early in rehabilitation. Other cross training modalities are upper body ergometry, known as arm cranking, which delivers high intensity cardiovascular stimulus without any knee loading. A rowing ergometer can also be utilized for cross training purposes. It uses a seated pulling technique with leg drive. This requires strong knee flexion and extension and may overload the graft in the early stages of rehabilitation. Hence, it is utilized mostly in the later stages only. Other alternatives for cross training are elliptical trainers and one leg cycling. Now let's see what is the difference between interval and continuous training strategies. Continuous training is moderate intensity, steady state exercise done for at least 20 to 40 minutes, focusing on maintaining baseline aerobic capacity. Whereas interval training is alternating periods of high intensity training with recovery phases in between. This is effective for maintaining both aerobic and anaerobic fitness, especially for team sport athletes like football. The image shows difference between continuous and interval training. Continuous training is usually low to moderate intensity exercise, whereas interval training involves high intensity bursts of exercise. Continuous training is useful for building baseline aerobic capacity, whereas interval training is useful for building aerobic as well as anaerobic fitness. Continuous training sessions, due to their lower intensity, may last longer duration, whereas interval training is shorter, varied sessions which can be done even with paucity of time. In short, continuous training protocols are utilized in early phase of rehabilitation, especially due to their safety, and it can be progressed to interval formats as the range of motion and limb strength improves. Coming to monitoring the training load using heart rate. Heart rate training involves targeting various heart rate training zones, such as utilizing their percentage of heart rate maximum using wearables or checking pulse. The various zones of heart rate training are zone 1, which is recovery zone, utilized typically for warm-ups and cool down, or active recovery, and is at a lower intensity of 50 to 60% of maximum heart rate. The zone 2 is aerobic or base fitness zone, done at 60 to 70% of maximum heart rate, and it builds heart efficiency and endurance. The zone 3 or tempo or endurance zone is done at 70 to 80% of maximum heart rate. It helps in improving aerobic endurance and fitness. The zone 4 is threshold zone, done at typically 80 to 90% of maximum heart rate. It boosts speed and anaerobic capacity. The zone 5 is a maximal effort or speed zone which is done at about 90 to 100% of maximal heart rate, which is usually done in short bursts of speed and is termed as high intensity training. The maximum heart rate can easily be calculated with the formula 220 minus age in most individuals. Now coming to monitoring RPE or rating of perceived exertion for safe evidence-based progression. The RPE or the rating of perceived exertion is measured in using a Boggs scale from 6 to 20 or a modified Boggs scale which is measured out of 10. It is a subjective tool that measures how hard a person feels when they are working during the physical activity. It incorporates their perceptions of fatigue, breathing, and effort. This can be utilized for calculating a session workload, as in session RP average into session duration in minutes can give the session workload, which can be added for each session and cumulatively over a period of weeks and months to calculate the increase in training load over time. So monitoring workload is important, and the training volume or workload indices can also be calculated using the power utilized on ergometers and the session duration as told. The session monitoring is done by recording durations, rating of perceived exertion, heart rate response, and by increasing in session volume, thus progressively overloading over the period of rehabilitation. How to integrate cardiac conditioning into your rehabilitation schedule. This must be part of the periodization schedule of the rehabilitation. Training periodization is a systematic, cyclical, structured athletic training program into phases or periods with specific, progressively loaded objectives to maximize the performance and to minimize injury risk. So cardiovascular conditioning can be integrated with the strength and motor control work, with early phase having 2 to 4 sessions per week and later phases can have increasing intensity and specificity of training. Coordinate the sessions with physiotherapy and medical team to avoid conflicts with loading protocols. Remember, each and every session for whatever motor quality may be it adds to the training load. Hence, overtraining has to be prevented. Schedule non-impact modalities early and gradually increase diversity and specificity. Optimize the total weekly training load. These are my references. Thank you. Jai Hind.